Hey everyone, thank you for joining Christian Life here with Chase Holmes. I really appreciate it. We're diving into our second part of the Sermon on the Mount here. We just did the Beatitudes last time, so I highly encourage you guys to jump into that video first, whether it's on the Saints United School community or if it's on my YouTube channel. Either which way, I highly encourage you to watch the Beatitudes and go through that. That'll be Matthew 5 through 12, which is the opening of the Sermon on the Mount, and also read the Gospel of Matthew, at least the Sermon on the Mount, to have like a little bit of a background of that, like I said in the last video, which I would highly encourage, just so you have that reference. It's just an amazing ethical teaching from Christ. So I'm not sure why you wouldn't read it as well, but you don't have to. If you want to stay and watch this video, go ahead. But yeah, let's jump into, I want to just really dive into, it's actually just a few verses really. It's just, Matthew 5, 13 through 16. And I'm going to start off where, let me just go to it here. I have a little layout here that I'll refer to, just so I had the right information for you guys. But yeah, Matthew 5, 13 through 16, I want to go through here with you guys and kind of talk about what I learned. And obviously with everything, when it comes to the Sermon on the Mount, there's a lot of parables and there's a lot of cross references that Jesus is making, of course, and there's a lot of like there's just a lot of references to certain like things that are not like literal, but maybe you're supposed to take them literal, and you kind of have to like make of them what you can at the time, and not everybody's supposed to understand certain things. So that's kind of what I'm trying to refer to. So I'm sure a lot of you know when Jesus talks about salt. So Jesus talks about salt, and I'll actually go to the verse here. So Matthew 5:13, you are the salt of the earth, but if salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown down and trampled underfoot. Okay, I'm sure you've heard that verse before. If not, it's a pretty popular one from the Sermon on the Mount as well. So yeah, Jesus talks about salt. Salt is the reference Christ used in giving us a vision. Sorry guys, I'll get my face in the phone or in front of my camera here. Giving us a vision of how he wanted his followers to act and keep in touch deeply in their lives. Okay, and I'll make this very clear. Salt is useless in itself as a as a standalone element. Okay, and its value does not become apparent until it's been applied to other things, right? And the followers of Christ, the followers of Christ essentially have a great purpose for others. Okay, and we'll get into that a little bit more, right? But the followers are the salt, and the people that need, and the others that need to be saved are the earth, right? And so salt in that time was actually considered very valuable. So Romans would actually get paid in salt. They would get offered salt essentially. And so, like, just going back to that, so the followers are the salt, and the people that need to be saved are the earth, right? And obviously that makes a lot more sense, right? When you put it like that, because if there's no salt, well then why would it even be there in the first place, right? So salt keeps food from corruption and decay, but it also enhances the taste of food. But salt can actually be used for like certain healing properties and stuff like that as well, which I actually didn't know about. I think some people have spoken about this. Maybe I've heard about it before, but I actually found that pretty interesting. But anyways, Christ insisted that his followers, should not lose the flavor of their Creator, right? And so he actually described his followers as salt and light, and we'll get into the light part afterwards. But what Christ was essentially saying was, is that you are here to bring the godliness out of the earth through your saltiness. But however, if your salt loses its taste, how can people even receive what the Creator has to offer to everyone ultimately, when salt is what preserves the earth? Right? Like just think about it. If you're the salt and you start to lose your taste, what good are you to the earth, the people that need to be saved? You can't offer them ever if you're not genuinely focusing on being a genuine follower of Christ and discipleship and reading up on the scriptures and being humble in spirit and you're falling short all the time and you're not picking up your cross every single day and you're being lukewarm. What are you good? What good are you but to be of the same as the people that still need to be saved? That's exactly what Christ is saying. You need to always be following up with your Creator. That sounds weird, but that's essentially what Christ is saying. Like, go back to the verse, right? You are the salt of the earth. But if salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. He's not wrong. If salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? We need to be razor sharp every single day in our worship towards our Lord. If we're not worshiping God. We're worshiping whatever we are. Stuart Conneckley talks about this. Like, whatever we talk about most or think about most when we're in the shower, in the car, when we have our free space in our head, that's what we worship. Money, sex, our business, our family. Certain things are not necessarily horrible to worship, but we ultimately still don't worship God, and we ought to worship God because He is the driving force for our ultimate purpose of meaning in life, because we are created in the image of God, and we all have a God-shaped hole which can only be filled by God. And everybody else also has a God-shaped hole, and we have to help them have that help them have that hole filled. They cannot do that for themselves. They cannot do that for themselves. And so Jesus warns us about this in a very catchy, weird, confusing analogy, obviously. But respect to Jesus for using this type of ethical literary style, and at the same time a little bit of poetry to help instill it into our brains. So we have to search. We actually have to go searching for what this means. And then once we go searching for what this means, we can understand more in our hearts what it means. Does that make sense? Just wanted to get that clear there. So again, yeah, if their salt loses its taste, how can people receive what the Creator has for everyone ultimately? Salt is what preserves the earth in the first place. And then the next thing that Jesus says, He doesn't stop there. You are the light of the world, right? He goes on to say you're the light of the world. When he goes on to verse 14, a town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father who is in heaven. Okay? Just another amazing verse. I'll point that out. What this kind of reminds me of, and I kind of pointed at a few different things here, obviously, but Christ is the light of the world that shines even in the darkness. And I pointed that out here as I was doing some research for this video. And then I remembered John 1:5, right? John 1:5, you know, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. And so, yeah, John 1:5. I kind of just told you John 1 all the way through 5 there, verses 1 through 5. Yeah, it's such a beautiful verse there. I don't know why I read all the way to verses 1 to 5. That is not what I meant to do. But anyways, it's all good. It doesn't really matter. You got more of the context there, we'll say, right? More context. So that's not a bad idea. And then, yeah, so this light shines in every believer who follows Christ. Not just every believer, no, a believer who follows Christ, right? And this same light will travel to the darkness of the world and to every part of humanity. And a city on a hilltop isn't meant to be hidden, right? A city on a hilltop is not meant to be hidden. Okay, but it is meant to be exposed. Just as the light of Christ that is in us is not meant to be hidden, but is meant to shine through us, right? Again, I encourage you guys to go read John 1:5 and meditate on that, and while you reflect on Matthew 13 to 16, Matthew 14 to 16, and you will see the correlation there, and see if you can make anything of that. And yeah, I thought that was really interesting, and yeah, I just love the way Christ makes his references in the Sermon on the Mount, how he just doesn't go and make this, you know, it's not just a hard-hitting sermon. It's not just, hey, you're doing these things wrong, and I am the Messiah, and you will follow me now. It's in part that, but he does that in a way that is in a highly educated, ethical context, but intertwining that with poetry so that people are so in awe of it. While they are in awe of it, they are searching for what they are in awe of. So it's not like it's not like the audience when he preached the Sermon on the Mount were just like, I can't believe what he just said. They were like, I can't believe what he just said, and I gotta make up whatever he just said in my head for now, but after this, I'm going to have to search what he truly meant for the next however long. I'm going to have to go talk to this guy. I'm going to have to go talk to my neighbor. I'm going to have to go talk to the guy beside me. Jesus knew the conversation that these teachings would stir up. And yeah, I'm not going to drag you guys on here for 20 minutes or nothing like that. So I'll pretty much end it right here. If anybody's watching this, I appreciate you guys joining, and hopefully you got something from this. Hopefully you maybe learned a little bit more about the next part of the Sermon on the Mount here. And next time I believe we'll be talking about Matthew 5:28 to 38. And we'll talk about that and expand a little bit on that. So again, thank you for joining, and God bless.